This past December, Lexus showed us a ton of potential battery electric vehicles that could come in the future. One of them looking like a super futuristic version of the Lexus IS. Well, now we have news coming from Japan of this upcoming battery electric IS successor. Best Car Web, the best source of information for upcoming Japanese cars from Japan, Scoop Site magazine. Downloaded the Japanese magazine, did my best to translate it, so let's have some fun. On the cover, the main takeaway, we have a Lexus IS battery electric vehicle, not only the sedan in blue, but we also have a red hatchback wagon. We haven't had an IS wagon since the Sport Cross, I believe that was called, in the first generation, and this is definitely that spiritual successor of that vehicle. It is saying is going head to head with the BMW, not just the 3 Series, but the M3. Next page, we have some more images, especially the side profile of the wagon. Keep in mind, this is all translated from Japanese to English with Google Translate, which doesn't work that well. So I'm doing my best to kind of feel my way through these translations as best as possible. So this page is saying new battery electric vehicle information has arrived for Lexus, and this is the new IS. It is said that the IS will be reborn battery electric vehicle in 2025, and there will be a wagon version. Now he's going to tell us everything he knows about the new 2025 BEV IS. We have 3 pages here to sift through, but before we actually sift through them, what we're going to do is compare the images of these renders, which Best Car is typically very, very accurate. We're going to compare them to what we saw back in December of this IS vehicle. The design is still here on the vehicle, especially when it comes to the lights and this overall design on the front bumper. It has been raked a little bit more inwards, I feel like, these lines towards the wheels, where this comes more straight down on the more conceptualized image. Also, we have harder lines on the hood versus these softer, more delicate lines, if you could say, on the hood of the concept. Now, if we look at the side mirrors, these look like traditional Lexus side mirrors. So it looks like they could be going into the parts bin, but don't be surprised in certain markets that you have electronic mirrors, or should I say camera mirrors. So they'll be a lot more aerodynamic and smaller. Now you'll also notice that the black cladding at the very bottom of the vehicle has been much more minimalized, almost cut in half versus the concept. Also, windows will look much more production ready as well. This is all blacked out, right? But we have some chrome on here just at the bottom of the window. And we actually have partitions to separate the windows other than just like a line to separate them. Now we actually have a rear image of this vehicle. It wasn't actually debuted to us in December, but it was teased on one of Lexus's Twitter or Instagram pages. So we can compare back ends here. And the taillights don't have the same sort of exotic design to them, much more basic here. But the overall general design is there. There's no denying it, even from the duckbill spoiler to the shapes of the rear bumper. And I think this might be the most fun, comparing the side profiles of them all. Again, the top is the concept that we saw in December, and you can just see the general dimensions and outlines are pretty much identical. We don't have as quite as an aggressive line backwards here. It's more vertical, where this one really curves back, and the line kind of lines up with where the mirror connection is to the door, where here it's way in front. It's almost where the A-pillar begins. So a big difference there with that line, but this general shape is pretty much the same. The outline of the vehicle is definitely the same. Door handles are a difference, and we also have the shark fin antenna on the top of both of the sedan and the hatchback. Again, you can even see better that the black cladding at the bottom, or the black piece at the bottom, is much smaller on the production versions. And going over the concepts we saw in December here, it looks like we have 4 different variations of the IS sedan. There's no ES or LS sedan in here. It looks like they're all derivatives of this base sedan here on the right. And if I were to say, like, I feel like these vehicles here are all the ones coming probably the soonest. Now, it's really hard to say. They're saying 2025, and we'll go over all the details, don't worry. But all these concepts are supposed to be on a new platform, not shared with the ET&J. That's what we're supposed to believe, because they're all using a solid-state battery. That might not be the case with the IS. It might have to come out before solid-state batteries are commercially viable outside of hybrids, because they're initially going to have them in hybrids and much smaller battery packs. So it's almost like RZ comes out this year. I don't know, TZ, whatever they're going to call it, comes out probably in 2 years. This comes out in 3 years, the IS that we're talking about, maybe 4 years for this vehicle, debuting solid state batteries and charging a butt ton for it. And then all these derivatives could come out later with solid state batteries as well, including convertible. So IS hatchback wagon, a lifted wagon, so a little bit more ground clearance with this guy, and then a convertible based off of that same platform. I think it's time to go ahead and get into the translations of these images and scans. So they're saying the wagon and the sedan IS will be the next premium D segment vehicle, and it'll still be going against Benz, BMW, and Audi. They said the current IS, essentially 9 years has passed, and that's true to some degree, because this current generation IS did come out, what was that, 2013? But we got that refresh, pretty much a refresh in 2021, where it used pretty much the same interior, but it's more based off the GS's platform than the old IS's platform. But it is not really that new of a vehicle. It's not a new platform. They're saying in Japan this September they're getting the IS 500, or what we've called as the ISF potentially over there. V8 5-liter, pretty much what we have in the IS 500 here. They're finally getting their own version of that in Japan later this year. But they're saying that the reason why the IS has been long lived for 9 years is because the overall idea of what the next IS will be continues to change. It was supposed to be changed a few years back actually for the redesign, but it was decided to extend the life of the current model and then switch to a battery electric vehicle after that. Again, translation here, but it sounds like when they unveiled the battery electric vehicles in December, they were so close to the production cars that the designers were kind of surprised that they were able to show their vehicle, saying, how can I show this? Because it's so close to what the production model will be. And for them to compete with the European vehicles, they say that the hatchback, they cannot skip. They have to have the hatchback in order to compete well with the German luxury cars. Now they're saying that the ETNGA platform, just like the RZ, just like the BZ4X, is probably going to underpin this. That makes sense because we only have one electric vehicle platform for Lexus and Toyota at this point, and that's ETNGA. We've only seen mid-size crossovers based off of that. And we've heard Toyota and Lexus say that there will be multiple battery electric vehicle platforms in the future in order to have vehicles of all different shape, sizes, and performance levels. So I'm thinking Lexus will have a higher performance battery electric vehicle platform, just don't know if it's going to debut in 2025 with this new IS. They're saying it's still a front engine rear wheel drive sort of setup, but that's more traditional. There will be a rear motor in it. And they say there's not going to be a drive axle going through the center of the car as a result, of course. And by 2025, all vehicles from Lexus, well, at least battery electric vehicles, will be steering by wire like the new RZ is. Now, this is where it gets exciting for me because we're talking about powertrains. They're saying we could very well have a quad motor design for true torque vectoring. They don't talk about the front axle so much. They do say all-wheel drive with motors in the front and the rear, but they do say that rear axle should have independent motors for true torque vectoring performance. And these motors are being worked on by Aishin and Denso's joint venture, which is Blue Nexus. They also say that there's a 2-speed automatic transmission for these high-performance motors coming for the Lexus lineup. So what do we know about Blue Nexus? Well, the last thing we updated you guys on was that on June 1st, they're establishing a new company in Michigan to develop and produce these e-axles here in North America for battery electric vehicles here. But these Lexus vehicles will be made, at least initially, for a long time. All their battery electric vehicles will be made in Japan with these Blue Nexus motors, inverters, etc. So we're going to click on e-axle here. They're saying that everything is going to be integrated in the same unit potentially. I mean, that's what we have only so far with the transaxle motor generator and the inverter all there. But we could be seeing a different type of high performance motor here. Here's that 2-speed automatic transmission that Blue Nexus has been working on. And this could be this type of motor that we see for the first time coming for the new IS, new sports concept vehicles from Lexus. But I'm going to end it there. Again, thank you for your patience today. It's so hard for me to translate all this from Google Translate and then again try to make sense of it through broken translations. But I think if we summarize what Best Car's saying is that there could be a new Lexus IS fully battery electric vehicle that looks insane essentially. We're going to have a wagon version, or it's in a few instances they say shooting brake in this article. We could have true torque vectoring. We could have 2-speed automatic motors. This thing could be a quad motor as well, because we could have true torque vectoring on the front axle. They don't say anything about that, but I think the future looks bright for Lexus. It's just how long do we have to wait? I think 2025 might even be a little bit early for the next generation IS. But what do you guys think? Do you think they're going to do it in 2025? Do you think it's going to be on the BZ4X's platform, or will they have something all new? Is it going to be solid state batteries? There's just so much we don't know, but the design I think is there, and I don't think the design will change that much. And I think what Beskar did to come up with those renders for a more production version of this IS concept, I think they're pretty close, but time will tell. But I got in it there because things are melting down outside of this office and I can't record anymore. It's hurting me. I'm sure it's hurting you a little bit. Gotta love the kids. Catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe, because I will give you guys more information on this IS, on Lexus's electrified vision as it comes to fruition. They're planning to sell only battery electric vehicles here in North America and Europe and China by 2030. So things have to start coming out. They have to start coming out quick. Could it be 2025 for this IS? Stay tuned. Catch you in the next one, and peace.